One sunny Saturday, Tola decided to take Said out with her to run some errands and enjoy the weekend atmosphere. They drove through the streets of Lekki in Tola's white sedan, windows down to feel the lagoon breeze. They passed by modern cafes, boutiques, and the well-trimmed lawns of other posh houses. Tola pointed out places of interest. "That's a new ice cream parlor that opened recently. They have the best gelato. Over there is the gym Kunle and I go to sometimes. And that building with the glass front, that's the supermarket we shop at. It has everything." Said admired the neighborhood. "It's really nice here. Peaceful, but also lively in its own way." "Yes, I love it. Though the traffic on weekdays can be crazy on the main road," Tola laughed. They stopped at a mall on Victoria Island where Tola needed to pick up some imported fabric for her boutique. It was a high-end mall filled with foreigners and wealthy Nigerians strolling in designer clothes. While waiting at the fabric store, they decided to get lunch at a fancy cafe. Said looked around at the marble floors and elegant decor, feeling a bit out of place in her simple dress and sandals. But Tola, dressed in casual chic jeans and a flowy top, fit right in and didn't seem to notice any disparity. Over salad and jollof rice, the cafe's fusion take on local cuisine, the friends talked about lighter topics, memories from school, celebrities they followed on Instagram, and their dreams. At one point, Tola asked, "So what kind of job are you thinking of getting next? Do you want to stay in retail or try something new?" Said shrugged. "Honestly, at this point I'll take anything stable. Retail is what I know, but the hours were long and the pay was small. Maybe an office job? But I only have a diploma, not a full degree like you. It's harder to compete." "You're smart and hardworking. We'll figure something out," Tola said encouragingly. "Maybe Kunle can refer you to a position at his friend's company or something. Let's ask him." "I appreciate it, but I don't want special treatment or to make him feel obligated," Said said, stirring her drink. "He offered already, actually," Tola admitted. "He mentioned last night that he'll talk to some colleagues to see if they know of openings. He really wants to help too." Said smiled and looked down. You're really kind. I'm lucky to have you as friends." She paused, then added softly, "Watching you and Kunle, your life, it gives me hope that maybe I can also have something like this one day, you know, a stable life, a partner who cares." "You will, by God's grace," Tola said, reaching over to squeeze her friend's hand. "Don't lose hope. A few years ago, I was also just a girl dreaming of a better life. Things can change fast, and any man would be lucky to have someone like you." Said blushed a little and changed the topic, slightly uncomfortable with praise she didn't feel she deserved. When they returned home, the late afternoon sun was casting golden light across the sitting room. They found Kunle relaxing on the couch watching a football match on TV. It was Saturday, so he was home earlier, enjoying the downtime. "You're back. Hey Sade, did she drag you to every shop in VI?" Kunle joked as they walked in. "Not at all," Sade laughed. "Just a few. We had a nice time, actually." "Good to hear. You ladies have fun. I was just catching up on the Premier League," he said. His team had apparently won because he looked pleased. During the evening, Kunle stepped out to visit a friend nearby, and the two women were left at home. They decided to try out a new cake recipe for fun, making a mess of the kitchen in the process with flour and butter. They ended up laughing like old times when the cake rose lopsided and slightly burnt on one side. Later, after cleaning up, they watched a movie in the living room. It was a popular Nollywood drama that had recently come out. Partway through the movie, Kunle returned home, his entrance quiet. He saw them engrossed in the film and decided to sneak up. Suddenly, he jumped over the back of the couch to sit between them with an exaggerated, "I'm back." Both women jumped and then burst into laughter when they saw it was him. "Kunle, you scared us," Tola scolded playfully, swatting his arm. He chuckled. Sorry, couldn't resist. So, what are we watching?" "A Nollywood film, Love and Lagos, about some complicated love triangle," Said said. She was still giggling from the surprise. "Oh, those always have a lot of drama," Kunle said knowingly. He settled in between them, draping an arm behind Tola on the couch. Catch me up? So Said quickly summarized the plot, which did indeed involve a woman whose best friend betrayed her by dating her ex, a coincidence that none of them noted at the time as relevant to their own lives. It was just entertainment. They commented and joked as the movie went on, with Kunle occasionally making a funny remark that made both women laugh. In that moment, all three seemed like old friends, without a care in the world. The only difference was that Tola noticed something. Sade was laughing more freely now, her eyes bright. It warmed Tola's heart to see her friend healing from the stress and sadness. She had been worried that living with them might make Said feel like a charity case, but it seemed to be having a positive effect instead. Still, over the next week, small things began to change in subtle ways. Little by little, barely noticeable unless one paid close attention. It started with the morning routines. Usually Tola woke up first, but one day she awoke to find the other side of the bed empty, and it was only 6 a.m. Surprised, she threw on a robe and wandered out to the living area. There she found Kunle and Sadie in the kitchen together, both in casual workout clothes, chatting. The sight gave her pause. They looked friendly, just casually talking, but she hadn't expected Sadie to be up this early, and she certainly hadn't expected her husband and friend to be together before she even woke. "Oh, good morning," Tola said, stepping into the kitchen with a smile, masking her slight unease. They both turned. "Morning, sleepyhead," Kunle teased lightly. "We didn't mean to wake you. Said and I were just heading out for a jog around the estate." "Jog?" Tola repeated, a bit surprised. She herself wasn't a morning exercise person. She usually did yoga later in the day, if anything. "Since when do you jog, Said?" she asked with a chuckle, trying to sound casual. Said poured a glass of water and shrugged. "Well, Kunle was about to go for his run, and I mentioned I've been wanting to start exercising to clear my head. He kindly invited me along. I hope that's all right." "Of course it is," Tola said quickly. It did make sense. Kunle often jogged on weekend mornings and sometimes weekdays if time allowed, to stay fit. He had probably mentioned it in passing, and athletic Said, she used to play volleyball in school, took him up on it. There was nothing wrong with that, she told herself. "I would have invited you too, but I know you value your beauty sleep," Kunle joked, kissing Tola's cheek. "I figured one day I'll get you to join me." Tola laughed. "One day, maybe, but not today," she teased back, though inside she still felt a little left out. She shook off the silly feeling. It was nice that her friend felt comfortable enough to join their routine. Maybe the exercise would even help Said's mood. "You two have fun. I'll have breakfast ready when you're back," she offered. No, I can handle that when we return," Said insisted. "You've been cooking so much. Let me make us all some omelets then. It's the least I can do." "She makes great omelets," Tola confirmed to her husband, remembering past times. "All right then," Kunle said, heading towards the door with Saad following. "We'll be back in 30 or 40 minutes. As they left, Tola watched them through the window for a moment. They started a light jog down the street, chatting side by side. She noticed Said's outfit, running leggings and a fitted tank top, appropriate for exercise, though she couldn't help but notice her friend's figure looked more pronounced in the sporty attire. She felt a twinge of something, but quickly chided herself. "That's my friend and my husband, and I trust them completely," she thought, turning away from the window. True to their word, they returned about half an hour later, slightly sweaty and laughing about something that happened during the run. Tola was at the stove frying plantains to go with the omelets. She looked over her shoulder to see them coming in, both a bit breathless. "How was it?" she asked. "Great run," Kunle said, filling a glass at the sink and gulping water. "Said actually runs faster than I expected. She almost left me behind on the bridge." "Oh, please." Said rolled her eyes with a smile, dabbing her face with a towel. "I was trying to keep up with you." They continued their playful debate as they helped set the table for breakfast. Tola served the food, and they all enjoyed the meal. She noticed that Kunle complimented the omelet's flavor twice, and Saad seemed pleased. That day passed normally enough, but it was the beginning of a subtle shift. Over the following week or two, other small things happened. One evening, Tola had a video call with a supplier that ran long, so she missed part of dinner. When she finally emerged, she found that Kunle and Sade had already eaten and were washing up the dishes together, chatting in low voices. They looked up almost guiltily when she walked in, and she felt uncomfortable for a reason she couldn't place. They insisted they left food for her, which they did, and she joined them, but she couldn't shake a sense of having been excluded. It was irrational, she thought. They were just being considerate since she was busy. Another time, a neighbor invited Tola to a daytime function, a sort of charity luncheon. She asked Sade to come along to meet some people who might help in her job search, but Sade declined, saying she had a headache. However, later that day when Tola returned home, she found out that Sade felt better and had gone out to the nearby cafe with Kunle. It turned out Kunle had been working from home that day, and when he noticed Sade feeling better, he offered to treat her to a coffee to get some fresh air. It was innocent enough, and Tola didn't want to appear upset, but it pricked at her that neither of them had called to inform or invite her, even if she was busy. Kunle apologized, saying he thought she'd be tied up all afternoon. One night, another incident stood out in Tola's mind. It was late, and they were all in the living room watching a popular reality TV show that aired weekly. Partway through, Tola felt very sleepy. She had been up since early, and told them she was going to bed. Kunle said he'd come soon too, and Sade just nodded, eyes on the TV. Tola went to the bedroom and lay down, expecting her husband to follow shortly after the program ended. She woke up later and glanced at the bedside clock. Midnight. The other side of the bed was still empty. Sleepily, she got up and padded out to the living room. The TV was off now, but a lamp was still on. On the couch, she saw a sight that stopped her. Sade and Kunle were both asleep sitting there. Sade's head was resting on Kunle's shoulder, and his arm was around her, as if they'd nodded off while maybe discussing something. For a moment, jealousy flared in Tola's chest. The image looked too cozy. She stepped forward, her foot unintentionally hitting the edge of the coffee table. The soft thud woke them. Kunle blinked, realized the situation, and quickly and gently moved away from Sade. Sade sat up straight, looking embarrassed, her eyes wide. "Tola," she said quickly, "I'm sorry. We must have dozed off. We were just talking about the show after it ended and—" "It's okay," Tola interrupted, forcing a smile though her heart pounded. "I fell asleep too. It's late. Let's all go to bed." Kunle stood and came to Tola, perhaps reading something in her expression. "Sweetheart, it's nothing. She was just—" "I said it's fine," Tola replied, a bit sharply, then softened her tone. She didn't want to overreact. "It's late. We're all tired. Let's just go to sleep, Sade murmured an apology once more and quickly disappeared down the hallway to her room, not meeting Tola's eyes. In the bedroom, Kunle turned to his wife, looking concerned. "Are you upset with me?" he asked quietly as they got into bed. Tola took a deep breath. She knew she should express her feelings, as communication was something they promised each other. But she also didn't want to come off as paranoid or accuse him of anything based on what could truly have been an innocent moment. "I was just surprised," she admitted. "It looked a bit odd finding you two like that." "It wasn't on purpose," he explained gently. "We were talking about that contestant on the show, and I guess Sade got emotional." "Emotional?" She was relating to the contestant's story of struggling alone in Lagos, and she started crying a little. I was just comforting her. We must have both nodded off afterwards. "I'm sorry, I should have been more mindful." Tola's irritation eased a bit hearing that. It made sense if Sade was upset about her own life situation. "I understand," she said softly. I worry maybe she's feeling too emotional. I hope she's okay." "She is. She's just going through a lot. I think she felt embarrassed you found us like that." Maybe talk to her tomorrow so she knows you're not angry, Kunle suggested. You're right, Tola agreed. But that night, sleep eluded her for a while. Lying beside her husband, listening to his slow breaths as he fell asleep, Tola stared at the ceiling. She felt an uneasy mix of guilt and worry. Guilty for letting a seed of suspicion enter her heart when her friend and husband were likely just being good people, and worried because that seed, once planted, kept growing little by little despite her trying to uproot it with logic and trust. The next day, she did speak with Said gently, asking how she was feeling and if anything was bothering her. Said apologized again for the night before. I was just missing my dad and feeling sorry for myself, I guess. Kunle was kind to listen. I'm so embarrassed you saw me that way. I hope you don't think I'm here causing trouble. Of course not, Tola lied convincingly, hugging her friend. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. You can always talk to me too, you know. One evening, a university friend of both women was having a birthday party at a new rooftop lounge in Ikoyi. Tola initially planned to attend with Sade, and Kunle was going to skip it and stay home because it was more of a girls' reunion thing. However, on the day of the party, Tola came down with a migraine. She told Saad to still go without her, not wanting her to miss out or appear rude by changing RSVPs last minute. Said was reluctant. Are you sure? I can stay here with you, it's fine. No, you go have fun for both of us, Tola insisted, massaging her temple. Just give Kemi my love and apologies for not making it. Kunle chimed in, concerned about his wife. I'll stay with her to make sure she's okay. At this, Sadie looked at her friend and then at Kunle, something uncertain in her eyes. Actually, if you're staying home to care for her, maybe I should stay too. Or, Kunle, perhaps you could come with me instead, just for a little while, to represent the both of you. That way I'm not alone and Tola can rest. It was an unexpected suggestion. Kunle raised his eyebrows in surprise. Tola, lying on the couch with a cold towel on her forehead, also looked up in surprise. The idea of her husband going to the party with Sade in her place gave her immediate discomfort. Although logically, she could see Sade's point about not wanting to go alone where she might not know many others besides the birthday girl. Maybe that's not, Tola began, but her head throbbed and she winced. Kunle noticed and kneeled beside her. Honey, if you need me here, I'll stay. Don't worry about the party. Said quickly said, It's okay, I can handle it. I'll just pop in and out, say happy birthday and come back. Tola forced a smile despite her headache. She felt torn. She didn't want Said to feel bad, but she also didn't want to send her husband out partying without her with her friend. It sounded silly when she framed it like that in her mind. She trusted Kunle, but her heart tugged with a warning. It's fine, you both go if you want, she found herself saying, surprising even herself. She hated that the words came out, but part of her didn't want to appear like the jealous wife or to make a scene over nothing. I'll just sleep. My migraine should be better by later tonight. Are you sure, Tola? Kunle asked, searching her face to be certain. Tola nodded. Yes. It might even be good for you to get out a bit. You've been working so hard. Just don't stay out too late, okay? She tried to keep her tone light. Kunle smiled gently and squeezed her hand. Thank you. I'll take care of her, he joked, nodding toward Saad, trying to lighten the mood. Said still looked hesitant. All right, if you insist, but I won't drink at all. I'll be your driver since you already took painkillers, she told Kunle. A short while later, Tola watched them leave, dressed up for the party. Said had borrowed one of Tola's dresses, a simple but elegant black dress. She looked nice, her hair in braids pulled up into a bun. Kunle was dashing in a casual blazer and jeans. They really could be mistaken for a couple, a stray thought in Tola's mind whispered, seeing how well they both dressed and stepped out together. She told herself off for even thinking that and shut the thought out. Left alone in the big, quiet house, Tola felt lonelier than she had in a long time. The headache made it impossible to even distract herself with TV or a book, so she eventually dozed off. She woke around 11 p.m. The house was dark and still no sign of them. Her headache had dulled but not fully gone. She checked her phone. No message from either of them since they left around 7 p.m., which was odd. Perhaps they were still at the party or driving back. She dialed Kunle's number, feeling a bit anxious. It rang and rang, then went to voicemail. She tried Said. Similarly, no answer. That was even odder because Said usually picked up or at least texted back quickly. Worry began to gnaw at her. Were they okay? Lagos at night could be unpredictable. Although Ikoyi wasn't far and was safe enough, driving at night could still have risks like drunk drivers or police stops. Finally, at almost midnight, she heard the car pull in and voices. She peered out the bedroom window. She could see them in the driveway. It looked like they were talking before getting out of the car. A few minutes later, she heard the key in the door. She stayed in bed, not sure why she suddenly felt like she should pretend she was still sleeping. But curiosity got the better of her, and she sat up as they gently opened the bedroom door to check on her. "You're back," she said quietly, flicking on the bedside lamp. Kunle looked a bit startled, like a teenager caught sneaking in late, then gave a soft laugh. "Hey, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Better," she replied. She noticed Said hovering at the door behind him. "How was the party?" "It was fine. Lots of old faces from school," Said said. "Kemi was happy we came. How's your head?" "Better," Tola repeated, eyeing them. Something felt off. Kunle was avoiding her gaze slightly. "I know," Said said, hugging her back tightly. If there was a flicker of guilt or something else in Said's eyes, Tola didn't catch it. After that, things seemed normal again for a time. Yet a subtle tension lingered beneath the surface. Tola started noticing how sometimes when she walked into a room, if Sade and Kunle were talking, they'd pause briefly. Or how Sade, who initially was shy around Kunle, now seemed very at ease, almost too at ease. She'd tease him about small things like his slightly off-key singing in the shower that she overheard, or how he once burned toast and tried to hide the evidence. All three would laugh about these things, and Tola forced herself to laugh along, but privately she felt unease. Those were intimate family details. Saad was practically like part of the family now, but it had happened so quickly. One evening, a university friend of both women was having a birthday party at a new rooftop lounge in Ikoyi. Tola initially planned to attend with Sade, and Kunle was going to skip it and stay home because it was more of a girls' reunion thing. However, on the day of the party, Tola came down with a migraine. She told Said to still go without her, not wanting her to miss out or appear rude by changing RSVPs last minute. Said was reluctant. "Are you sure? I can stay here with you, it's fine." No, you go have fun for both of us," Tola insisted, massaging her temple. "Just give Kemi my love and apologies for not making it." Kunle chimed in, concerned about his wife. "I'll stay with her to make sure she's okay." Tola forced a smile despite her headache. She felt torn. She didn't want Said to feel bad, but she also didn't want to send her husband out partying without her with her friend. It sounded silly when she framed it like that in her mind. She trusted Kunle, but her heart tugged with a warning. "It's fine, you both go if you want," she found herself saying, surprising even herself. She hated that the words came out, but part of her didn't want to appear like the jealous wife or to make a scene over nothing. "I'll just sleep. My migraine should be better by later tonight." "Are you sure, Tola?" Kunle asked, searching her face to be certain. Tola nodded. "Yes, it might even be good for you to get out a bit. You've been working so hard. Just don't stay out too late, okay?" She tried to keep her tone light. Kunle smiled gently and squeezed her hand. "Thank you. I'll take care of her," he joked, nodding toward Sade, trying to lighten the mood. Said still looked hesitant. "All right, if you insist. But I won't drink at all. I'll be your driver since you already took painkillers," she told Kunle. She woke around 11 p.m. The house was dark and still no sign of them. Her headache had dulled but not fully gone. She checked her phone. No message from either of them since they left around 7 p.m., which was odd. Perhaps they were still at the party or driving back. She dialed Kunle's number, feeling a bit anxious. It rang and rang, then went to voicemail. She tried Said. Similarly, no answer. That was even odder because Said usually picked up or at least texted back quickly. Worry began to gnaw at her. Were they okay? Lagos at night could be unpredictable. Although Ikoyi wasn't far and was safe enough, driving at night could still have risks like drunk drivers or police stops. Finally, at almost midnight, she heard the car pull in and voices. She peered out the bedroom window. She could see them in the driveway. It looked like they were talking before getting out of the car. A few minutes later, she heard the key in the door. She stayed in bed, not sure why she suddenly felt like she should pretend she was still sleeping. But curiosity got the better of her, and she sat up as they gently opened the bedroom door to check on her. "You're back," she said quietly, flicking on the bedside lamp. Kunle looked a bit startled, like a teenager caught sneaking in late, then gave a soft laugh. "Hey, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Better," she replied. She noticed Said hovering at the door behind him. "How was the party?" "It was fine. Lots of old faces from school," Said said. "Kimmy was happy we came. How's your head?" "Better," Tola repeated, eyeing them. Something felt off. Kunle was avoiding her gaze slightly. Was he ashamed? Or was that her imagination? She noted his hand as he ran it through his hair. His wedding ring glinted under the lamp. For a second, an insane thought hit her. Thank God he's wearing his ring, as if that assured anything. "We didn't stay too long after midnight," Kunle added, stepping in. "Said insisted on coming back quickly to check on you, actually." Said nodded earnestly. "Yes, I was worried the whole time." They both seemed overly explanatory. Perhaps they really were just concerned and now relieved she was okay. She might be projecting her own inner turmoil onto them. "You should get some rest, Said," Kunle suggested over his shoulder to the friend. "Thanks for driving." "Sure. Good night, guys," Said said. Her tone towards them felt a bit formal suddenly. She left to her room,